Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining. My name is Gayatri, and I'm the UX specialist here at CCS. And today we're doing an introduction to Browse and Discover, which is the new configurable homepage in BiblioCore. So here's the roadmap for today. We are going to first see why Browse and Discover exists and what problem it's solving. After that, we'll see what the features are, and I will also show you some live examples after that. And we will spend some time looking at the configuration that includes permissions, the homepage editor, the browse settings, and also some information about going live. And that will be followed by a brief overview of some of the best practices because once you've learned how to build it, it's also important to know how to build it well. And finally, we'll also have time to look at the next steps and some time to answer your questions. So, to understand why this feature exists, it helps to think about two ways patrons use your catalog. So, sometimes they know exactly what they want, whether it's a specific title, a specific author, or a research topic that they have in mind, and then they will head straight to search. And other times they're not really looking for anything in particular. So they just want to be inspired. And you can think about how you browse a book at a physical branch where you're walking the fiction aisle or scanning the new releases table. You can also think about like scrolling a retail site without a specific product in mind, where you probably saw something on Instagram and now you're just poking around. So these aren't two different groups of patrons, but it's actually the same patron in different moments. So our catalog needs to support both of those experiences well. And historically, browsing hasn't gotten or rather generated the same engagement as much as search has. So, Browse and Discover is the first homepage that has been designed by BiblioCore from the ground up to support that inspiration seeking more in patron behavior. So, what is Browse and Discover really? So, in practice, it's a new homepage that your library staff will curate themselves, and it replaces the recent activity page. And I'd like to underline that the recent activity page will not be deactivated automatically. Your library decides when to flip that switch. So we'll talk more about that later on through the webinar. And along with the new homepage, you also have dedicated browse pages that includes browse by genre, browse by format, and browse by collection. And again, your staff will define the categories on each of these so that they reflect your community and also your collection and not just use a generic template. And because CCS is a consortium, this is built to be consortium ready. And every member library configures and controls its own homepage and its own categories completely independently. And nothing another library does affects your own site. And if your library has more than one language enabled in BiblioCore, you can also build an entirely separate homepage for each language with different content, different lists, and different everything. And we will dive deeper into some of these features ahead. So next, we're going to look at some of the building blocks of the browse page. The homepage itself is built from a set of rows, and you choose which ones to use, how many, and in what order. So let me walk you through the main types. First up, we have the list hero, which sits on top of your page, and uh, it features up to five lists together. There's one large list that sits in the hero position, which is on the left-hand side, and the remaining lists are listed alongside on the right-hand side. It creates a strong first impression, and it needs at least three lists to work. Next, we have the navigation row. It gives patrons quick links to your other browse pages. And that includes examples like genre, format, collection, new titles, and that sort of thing. So it redirects the patrons to the different pages of your BiblioCore site. And these buttons are styled in BiblioCore's own navigation button styles. And you can add up to 12 of these at a time. Next up, we have the catalog title rows. So these rows are dynamic and they are powered by a search query that you define. So as your collection changes, the list updates automatically, and you don't really have to do anything manually or make any changes on your end. It will keep updating as long as it's up. And from the home page, it displays up to 8 titles per row. And once you click on it, it's going to display many more titles. So it shows up to 8 on the page itself. Next up, we have link rows. So these are again a set of self-curated links, and they're styled as buttons in your own site's brand color. So you could have something really specific linked to these buttons, such as um maybe events or resources, or you could also pick genre to specially focus on. And again, you can have 12 of these. And we also have list cards. So these let you display up to 4 lists side by side, which is great for breaking up a topic and to look at from different angles. So if you have a specific theme that you're trying to promote, you could use list cards and it could club together different kinds of lists right next to each other. And you also have multilingual home pages. So, as I mentioned, you can have a separate homepage for each of your languages, and per language, you can add up to 30 home pages. But out of those 30 home pages, only one remains active. So you can choose to duplicate your own page and use it as a reference point, or you can create some more home pages in advance so that you can activate them based on the time of the year or a specific event that you're trying to promote, or even maybe a specific season. And you don't have to build all of these lists and columns and items on all at once, because uh, you can still publish it with fewer items, maybe just 1 or 2 rows, and there really is no requirement to turn it on. So I'm going to do some live examples from existing sites, but before that, I want to pause and see if anybody has any questions.
Nothing so far in the chat. I'll give it a moment just in case anyone is currently typing.
So sorry, go ahead, Miko.
I was going to say, nothing's coming through so far.
Okay, all right. Let's look at some live examples now. So we're going to look at a demo site that has been made by BiblioCommons. So this is the first item that we saw, the list hero, which sits on top of your screen. So anything that you want to highlight, or any really specific lists that you want to showcase, they could go in this hero list. And the first item of the list is in the hero position where it's enlarged and you can see it, the first thing once you open the site. And it does not have a title for this specific block. It's just going to show the names of the lists as you have saved them. Next up is the navigation row, which is styled in the BiblioCommons styling guide. And you can link different pages to these. They could be pages to new titles, recently reviewed titles, award winners, and so on. And down here we have link rows. And link rows could be linked to something really specific, like a specific genre, a specific resource, or again, really specific items that you want to highlight and make sure that they're reaching the patrons. And again, they're going to take the list rows are going to choose the uh, site color that has been chosen by you for your site. And these down here are the catalog lists where these are generated by the search query that you define, and they are auto updating. So again, you don't have to touch anything. They're going to keep updating on their own, and they will display 8 items at a time from the home page. But once you click on them, they will expand and show several more titles, and you can again drill down and um, sort them by format, audience, content, genre, topic, author, rating. And down here we have the lists, the card lists, where you can showcase 4 different lists at the same time. So you can break them down by themes or anything specific that you have in mind and you want to club together. So again, it's a great way to highlight some seasonal showcases that you have. And this was the homepage. Now we will look at the different categories. So if I go to browse, I'm going to see these 3 here. So there's browse by genre, format, and collection. And all 3 of them are navigating in a similar fashion. So we look at genre first. So in genre, it's going to open a separate page and it's going to list all the genres that you and your staff have defined personally. So if you've chosen to showcase these genres, they're going to stay on top of your page. And the same genres will again appear in this list below where it can again be expanded. So if I click on fiction, it's going to open into another page that is going to be broken down by some more subcategories. Again, these subcategories will be defined by you, so you can have several subcategories that you'd like to showcase. And like the previous page, it's again displayed here in this list. And you can go down into the subcategory, and it's going to show some more titles here. And you can again expand and any of these drop downs, and you can filter them by format, language, topics, and some more options down here. And you can always use the breadcrumbs up here to navigate to the previous pages, which is pretty useful. So if I want to check out all these genres again, I don't have to keep pressing back. I can just click on genre, and I know I will land up on the page that lists all the genres. And it's the same for browse by format. You will again be able to define which formats you'd like to highlight, and you can add some more subcategories to each format, and it will work in a similar fashion. And breadcrumbs to go back again. So if I click on browse, it will take me back to the home page. So this is one example from the demo site. We'll also look at another site, which is Puja in Colorado. So they have they have designed their style this way, site this way. So there's the hero list on top. They have the link rows. They have the catalog lists that auto update. Some more links, catalog lists, and links. So they've kind of alternated between the different kinds of rows, and they have some card lists down here. So as you can see, they have clubbed two different card lists, list cards, sorry. And they have like a theme going on for kids. So this is something that you can do as well if you want to showcase something for a specific theme. And really, you can design the page based on your liking. You can play around with it and do lots of different variations and save different versions in the up to 30 of those, and then you can choose which one you'd like to activate. Right. So back to the slides. So just to recap, we have seen why Browse and Discover exists, what it is. We've seen the different kinds of lists and the home page plus the 3 more browse pages. And we've seen the blocks that include the rows, the drill downs, and the formats and the collection pages. So we're going to see how to configure this next. So I'm just going to pause and see if anybody has any questions.
So far, nothing in the chat.
Thanks, Nico. All right. So we will look at configuration next. So to be able to configure the new Browse and Discover pages, you will need the site admin permissions, which has been updated with two new permissions now. So there's Browse Home Editor and the Browse Category Editor. So if you log into your account and click on admin, you should find these two options listed down here. And if you're not seeing them, that's okay. You can always reach out to us. You can open a help desk ticket and we can look at your permissions and make sure that you've been assigned those so you can continue testing and activating your homepage. So I'm going to open the CCS site next to look at how to build our first homepage. So this is the CCS site, and we're still working on populating it, but we've added several different kinds of rows and categories for you to look at. So once you're logged in, you would click on admin, and you should be able to see the Browse Home Editor and Browse Categories Editor down here. And once you click on Home Editor, oops, oh, it logged me out. It'll take a second. All right. So once you've clicked on the Browse Home Editor, this is the page that should open. So we have the page that's already set up. It says it's active, and you will see some more drafts if you've created those. You can choose the language from your top right-hand corner. Right now it's English, but I could go to Spanish and add more home pages per language. So right now we look at English, and we will test some of these. So if I want to create a new home page, I will click here. And this is where I will be shown different options, such as I can give this homepage a title. And again, this title is not going to appear for patrons. This is only for administrative purposes so that you know what this homepage is called and you'd have some reference for yourselves. So if I want to add a new row, I would click here and I would select one of these. And we will look at an existing homepage to look at how to edit it. This is the test homepage. I can click here to either view or duplicate it. And duplicating is a good option. It comes in handy, especially if you don't want to create something from scratch and you want to just use the first one as a template. And if you'd like to edit it, you click on this little pencil and it will bring you here. So I have already added the list hero, links, list cards, navigation links, and the catalog title, which looks like this. So here, oh no, it opened the existing page. Um, but it should open the browse page. So the list hero that we saw earlier includes these. So if you want to add a new item to your list hero, you can add from 3 to 5 lists in this. So if you want to add a new one, you would add a name for your reader and you would add the list URL. So the list URL would be taken from your lists that have been published. So if I'm looking at my lists, I would click on one of the lists, and once that list opens, I would click on the share button and the URL would automatically be copied to your clipboard. So then you'd go back and you would just paste this here and say add. And once it's added, it automatically pulls in the same title that's in your list. And you have the option to move these lists up and down using these arrows. And um, you can also edit or delete them from here. So that's the list hero. Then we look at the links. So you can have a maximum of 12 links here. So these are the link, this is for the link row. You can also choose to make the background of your row in gray. So if I toggle this on, it's going to make the background look gray. And I will show you that to you shortly. So, for adding links, you would have to give that link a label. So, once you've added your label, you would add the URL for the different links that you've chosen, and you would click save, which is up here. So, each time you make any changes to any of these rows and categories, you can click save to keep saving your progress. And the list card is similar. You can have from 2 to 4 lists at a time. This can have a heading, and you can add a list title. So you cannot see a new field here because I've already added the maximum number of lists. But I'm just going to delete one to show you what it would have looked like. So if you've copy pasted your list here um, and clicked add, again, it's going to automatically pull in the same list name that is saved in your lists, and it's going to link to your list, and that's going to appear on your um, list card. And again, you can use the up and down arrows to move these around, and you can use this button to edit or delete any of these. And for the catalog title, which is the dynamic auto-updating row, you would have to give it a heading. I've turned gray background on for this. You can choose to turn it on or off. It's completely optional. And you can add a URL once you're prompted. So since it's just one row, you will not see an option to add one more under it. It's a single standalone row on its own. So if you'd like to add one more, you can always go to add a new row. You can click on catalog title, and that's what it would look like. You'd add a heading, you'd add a search URL that you have curated from your advanced search for a specific kind of a search result. You'd add it here, and it would show up on your screen. So next up, so this was the browse home page. Now we will look at how to configure the browse by genre, format, or collection page. So to do that, you would click on admin again, and you would click on the categories editor. I'm not going to save the changes, so I'm just going to click leave. So once you're in the categories editor, you will see three options. You will see collection, format, and genre. And you can set up the different collections or formats for each language. So um, you can add each of these going from like a single language and then continue populating those. So we have set up the genre. So I will walk you through how that was done. So again, it's in English. So I'm going to click on edit, but you again have the option to view or delete from here. So I will click on edit. And it's also going to show who had last updated it and on what date. So you have that information for reference. So to add a new category, you would add a title and you would add a search URL. Pretty intuitive. And once you add that, you can either make it active or inactive. So that would determine whether it's visible or not visible on your page. And again, you can move it up and down using these arrows here, and you can view, edit, or delete these. And once you add any items to your category list, those items will automatically show up under subcategories where you can further expand and add more subcategories to this. So we've already added history, cooking, true crime, but you can add more. You can add a title, a catalog search URL, and click add. And the new item will be added automatically to the bottom of this list. So, like I mentioned before, the oops, this is what it would look like if I'm in browse by genre. I'm going to see this page. This is the category that we added. And once you click on it, these are the subcategories that you added. And this is the end. It's just category and subcategory. You cannot go drill down further and add any more subcategories. But once you open those, you see all your titles and you can sort them further. And again, for this was browse by genre. and you would have to follow the exact same steps for any format or collection items. So the steps remain the same, but whatever you decide to do or however you decide to curate, the content will change depending on that. So this was it. It's quite intuitive. All you'd have to do is make sure you have the right URLs for most of these, and you have some ideas about how you'd like to display these collections. And it's a really good time to play with these because, again, it's not complicated. They're pretty easy and intuitive to follow. And if you have any questions, you can always shoot us questions at the help desk, and we can help you walk through these again. So now that we've looked, oops. Now that we've looked at the configuration, I'm just going to again pause and see if anybody has any questions.
Still nothing in the chat.
Okay, see if somebody's typing something. All right then. And the slide deck will be shared with you. So if you have any questions, you'll find some more information here. So yeah, feel free to check it out after the webinar for any instructions that you want to follow once again. And now that you've looked at how to configure the home page, you can keep it ready, and all you'd have to do is then send us an email on our help desk, open a ticket, and tell us that you're ready and you'd like your homepage, browse and discover homepage enabled. And once we do that on our end, it will automatically replace the current recent activity page, and you will be soon able to display all the new items that you've been working on showcasing. So you can, if you're unhappy with it for some reason or you need some more time to work on it, you can always ask us to toggle it back and we can disable it. And in the meantime, it will revert to the recent activity page. And there's again no pressure to migrate immediately. You can spend some more time looking at the instructions, playing around, creating different homepage options, opening previews and seeing what they would look like. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. So, next up, we're going to look at the best practices because, as easy as creating those blocks are, it's also important to know how to do those well so that our patrons are engaged and are curious to look through all the different lists that you've showcased. So it's great if you're able to keep the content dynamic because patrons who are returning, they would like to see something new periodically to keep them engaged. So it's sort of similar to the different carousels that you showcase sometimes, depending on the time of the year or if you have something specific coming up for a season or any special maybe monthly highlights. So you can think about highlighting anything special for the browse page, especially in the list hero, which showcases those new lists on top. Again, the most important content which you want to highlight should ideally be on top because not all patrons really scroll all the way to the bottom because since this is the home page, people are going to end up seeing this the first thing. And if there's a specific list that you want to highlight and showcase, it should be up here. You could also group related content together. So if you have any row links or any list cards, you can of the similar theme, you can make sure that they are located in proximity when you're moving those up and down in your editor, so that when somebody is looking at a specific theme, they don't have to scroll to a different location. It also helps if you vary your row types. So maybe you can do a mix and match of link rows, list cards, your catalog lists, so that it breaks the monotony when you're looking at the screen. So if you have, let's say, card lists, category lists, all one under the other, If somebody is just quickly scrolling through those, they're not going to really stop to look at it. They're just going to think of it as one long list. So breaking these up in different categories helps, and also prompts the patrons to maybe look at these more carefully. Um, Also, I think it's similar to the previous one where you should only add maybe one row above the navigation, because if there are like too many listed one under the other, it's going to become monotonous and patrons won't scroll all the way down to see it. And as I mentioned, you can toggle the gray background on and off for some lists. So using them sparingly is advised, because the gray backdrop is really beneficial if you're highlighting a specific list. Maybe it's something happening especially this month and you'd like to highlight that. But if you highlight every other row in gray, it's going to defeat the purpose and make it look like a zebra pattern. So this way, if just one list is highlighted, it actually remains highlighted. And now we have come to the end of the best practices. And what's next is that you'll find some documentation and support resources on the CCS website soon. And you can also reach out to us for any configuration questions as you continue building your homepage. And if you do not see the two site admin permissions, which is the browse home editor and the browse categories editor, you can always open a help desk ticket and we will take care of that for you. And hopefully you'll find those two listed in there so you can continue testing. And these are some frequently asked questions that we found where there's a question about scheduling a homepage to go live later. That's at the moment that's not possible. The activation would be manual and you'd have to do that in the moment when you decide to go live. Can multiple staff edit at once? So it cannot be worked on simultaneously through different logins. You'd have to coordinate with your team, same as any shared admin tool. And about bookmarks. So would the bookmark change if the homepage URL has been looking different now? So since the catalog URL is going to remain the same, the only thing that would look different is the content itself. So let's say a patron has bookmarked the catalog page, it's still going to show the new updated homepage even if they're using the old URL. So that's going to remain unaffected. So yeah, just to recap, we've looked at the staff curated homepage and browse pages. We've looked at how to configure, and we've seen some best practices. And another reminder, you control when you want to flip and switch to the new browse page. So, are there any questions?